At Bromber Roofing and Construction, we help homeowners and property owners identify damage to the exterior of their buildings every day. And we most commonly find that damage on the roofing system. So today we're going to cover the most common types of roof damage that we find and kind of how to spot that if you're not on the roof. Now, before we start, I do want to share a quick disclaimer. We are not encouraging anyone to hop up on their roof, whether that be with a ladder or jumping out a window or anything like that. We always recommend calling a professional so that they can come and take a look for you so that you're not putting yourself in harm's way or anything like that. This video is simply for homeowners to get an idea of what roof damage looks like, so that if they happen to see it in passing or if they peek up at their roof and see something, they know that they need to call a professional to take a closer look and then make recommendations on how to remedy that situation. I do have one quick tip. If you're looking at your roof from the ground, if you want to get a closer look, what you can do is just grab a pair of binoculars and you can utilize those to get a closer look about what we're going to be talking about in this video so that you could potentially further identify what's going on. Now, you could likely still have storm damage to your roofing system even if you don't see it from the ground. So once again, I'm going to revert back to what I said originally, and if you are unaware of the condition of your roof or if you haven't had it inspected in the past several months, I definitely recommend calling a professional to come up there, climb up on a ladder and look for themselves, and then they can share the photos and videos of what they find. All right, so the first kind of damage that we find most commonly actually in both Colorado and Illinois is hail damage. So hail damage is something that's a little bit more difficult to see from the ground, but what we recommend is looking at your soft metals. So that means flashing around your skylights or some of the roof ventilation that you have on top of your roof. That's generally going to be the easiest way to identify hail damage from the ground without getting on the roof itself and closely examining it. So if there is hail damage present, what you'll find on those soft metals is little indentations from the little ice pellets smacking into that soft metal. So you can imagine throwing a golf ball at something at your garage door or something like that. It would be that type of indentation and you would probably see it multiple times. So here are a couple of images that we took during our free roof damage inspections that showcase hail damage on soft metals. So this will give you a better idea if you are taking a peek on your roof from the ground or if you're looking with binoculars at those soft metals. Here's what you should be looking for. Now, when it comes to finding hail damage on shingles, it's a little bit more difficult to do that from the ground. But just so you know what we're looking for when we complete our free roof damage assessments, here are a couple of images that show hail damage to shingles. And basically, it's pretty much the same thing that happens. So a hail little pellet will impact the shingle. It'll displace the granules and potentially even punch all the way through that shingle. And the reason that's an issue is because your roofing system is supposed to be a water-tight membrane that protects your house from any water getting inside. So when you have little holes in your shingles or things that could turn into holes, then obviously that decreases the integrity of your roof and it compromises that system from protecting it from water. So hail damage might not be an issue right now, but if you do have hail hits on your roof, it will be an issue eventually. Again, this is something that's probably going to be found when a professional looks at your roof so they can take a little bit of a closer look at your shingles. We don't recommend hopping on your roof and getting this close to your shingles to inspect them yourself. All right, the next type of damage that we most commonly find is wind damage. So if you can see majority of your roof from the ground, there's a good chance that you'll be able to identify wind damage if you have a shingle roof. Some telltale signs of wind damage include missing shingles. You could find one or multiple missing shingles. Occasionally an entire strip of shingles will get ripped out, or multiple strips depending on how powerful the windstorm was. Another example of wind damage is if your shingles are still there, but they're bent upwards and you can see them flapping in the wind, or maybe they're creased upwards. One thing that we look for when we get on top of the roof is if all the shingles are there, what occasionally could happen is one layer gets creased on top onto another layer and then it bends back down, but then there's that crease there, which again compromises the integrity of the shingle. And it also rips off that adhesive strip because all of the shingles are supposed to be adhered together. And if the wind rips it up, obviously that's an issue and it compromises your roofing system as well. So here are a couple of images of wind damage that we found during one of our free roof damage assessments. So this is so you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. Obviously missing shingles is pretty easy to spot. But if you see a lot of shingles being uplifted, or if you're even able to spot those creases that we were talking about, here are a couple of images to confirm that with what you're looking at on your roof. Now, another form of damage that we find pretty commonly on roofs, especially if they haven't been inspected in a long time, is just your general wear and tear or aging. So when we inspect a roof that's pretty old, we kind of expect this, but what you'll find is that a lot of the shingles have missing granules. You could find granule buildup in the gutters and maybe even shooting out the downspouts. And you can tell, if it's an old 3-tab shingle, generally that's what we find a lot because they don't even make those anymore. They don't recommend installing them. So you could have roof damage that's just contributed to the age of the roof as well. And basically all the damage that we've talked about today would eventually lead to what you definitely don't want to find, but is the most obvious form of roof damage, and that's if you have an active leak, where water is coming inside your house from your roofing system somewhere. And so this can result in a variety of things. It could result in your attic having a leak and maybe ice forming. It can result in water damage to your ceiling, or if it's really bad, it can go even beyond that and fall and damage roofs on the interior, and it gets really messy once you have an active leak. So what we always try and do is identify the damage on your roofing system before a leak happens, and that way we can get everything repaired so that nothing on the inside of your home gets damaged from water damage. So if you want peace of mind, or if you're unaware of the current condition of your roof and you want to know what's going on, we definitely recommend reaching out to a professional to get some help. At Brahma Roofing and Construction, we offer free roof damage assessments, and basically what that looks like is we would just come to your roof, set up a ladder, get on your roof. We would take photos and videos and identify and document the current condition of the roof, whether we find roof damage or not. And then we would present that to you and then recommend next steps based on what we find with that free roof damage assessment. As always, we're here as a resource for you. So if you have any questions about anything we talked about in this video, or you want to get your free roof damage assessment scheduled, please feel free to reach out. Thanks.